What's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is Nate Infinite, I'm your host Nate, and I decided to make this video because I wanted to talk about Snow White. I recently watched the movie on Disney Plus, and I got a few things to say about it. Mostly that I didn't really enjoy it that much. I don't really care for these Disney live action movies if I'm being perfectly honest. And the animation is always going to be superior even if I don't really care about the original movie that much. I don't have any nostalgia for it. The most nostalgia I have for the original Snow White movie is that they appeared in Kingdom Hearts.
I do need a place to sleep at night. Would you know anywhere I might?
Huh? But I decided to watch the Disney movie on Disney Plus, and I wanted to go into this movie with an open mind, so I decided not to rewatch the original movie so I can properly judge this movie on its own. And like most of the Disney live action movies that I haven't really seen that many. I've only seen like Aladdin and Alice in Wonderland, I think. I think that's the only ones I've seen. And I only seen Alice in Wonderland in theaters. I didn't see Aladdin in theaters. I only saw that on Disney Plus. But just like all these, this one is a really long movie that has a lot of extra stuff that I don't think is really necessary, and doesn't really justify its existence in my opinion, compared to the original. There are some things I did like about the movie. One, surprisingly, being the dwarves. Despite their CGI being like a lot of uncanny valley, I think honestly it grew on me as I was watching the dwarf CGI in this. They look like they should be in the Polar Express, I think is the problem. Like if this was a animated movie, like if everyone looked like them, they wouldn't stand out so much. But because they are the only CGI creatures in the movie, they stand out a lot and they just look really creepy. Like I eventually got used to seeing them. They had the most character in this entire movie. Like Dopey, I think, had the best character arc in the movie, and surprisingly I cared a lot more about that character than I thought I would. So yeah, the dwarves were actually really good despite how creepy they were. Another thing I liked about this movie was the soundtrack. I thought a lot of the new songs were pretty good, including the songs Waiting on a Wish and Good Times Will Grow. Rachel Zegler is obviously a very talented singer, and those songs are a highlight. I thought those were bangers. But not all the new songs are great. Like, usually a lot of these live action movies add new songs that don't really fit. But the songs sung by Gal Gadot particularly were not very fun to listen to. That Gal Gadot in this was just not fun in general. Like I think she is very, very poorly miscast in this. And for the most part, I thought this movie was pretty well shot. I really liked the ending of this movie, and there were some really decent shots for the most part. The CGI again is rough. The combination of sets and relocations. I noticed some of the sets, but again the CGI backdrops just were definitely. It took me out a lot of times. It was kind of hard to focus, despite the fact that there was some pretty decent cinematography in this, and I thought Rachel Zegler looked pretty good for the most part in this. And I did like the prince, even though he's not a prince of this. I thought his character was good, and again I really liked the ending and the ending song. That being said, probably won't watch this again because again I don't care for any of these Disney live action movies. But why am I talking about this movie? Well, that's because the Critical Drinker has made yet another video talking about Rachel Zegler and Snow White, and he decided to title it The Crash and Burn, which is basically his version of a rise and fall of an actor video, which a bunch of people on YouTube have made videos talking about the rise and fall of actors and celebrities. A YouTube channel I like to follow called Kaylee Says makes a bunch of videos like this. So this is like nothing new for YouTube, except Critical Drinker decided to call his Crash and Burn. I just find this video very funny because he said in this video that he wanted to make a new series talking about the crash and burn of certain actors in Hollywood.
It's about time I started a new series on this channel. But what to talk about? What aspect of the film industry could I look at this time? Then it hit me.
It's Hollywood, baby.
And he decided to make it about Rachel Zegler. So he decided to just make a quick buck with this one and talk about Snow White and Rachel Zegler again, because talking about Snow White and Rachel Zegler gets you 1 million views, which this video did. Even though he has made like 10 videos already talking about Snow White and Rachel Zegler. Like, he has talked about this woman so many times at this point. And I decided to ruin my YouTube algorithm and watch every single Critical Drinker video where he talks about Snow White and Rachel Zegler. And oh my gosh, I've said this before in a previous video, but once you watch one Critical Drinker video, again, you've watched them all. And watching them back to back, you really just see like how poor his editing style is. Like,
is it the nightmarish monstrosities in vaguely humanoid form that can't seem to decide if they want to be hyper-stylized, exaggerated cartoons, or and as for the dwarves... Sorry, diverse, magical, gender, non-conforming, vertically challenged individuals... At the time of making this video, the trailer has over 3 million views with 15,000 likes and 178,000 dislikes. Right, just a couple of days ago, the official's trailer for Snow White passed the epic milestone of 1 million dislikes.
I guess I gotta give it to him for being consistent, but goddamn, does he reuse the same jokes and memes in all of his videos? Like, I have seen the Anchorman clip in like 5 of his videos in a row. Like, one video literally ended with the Anchorman meme, and then the next video starts with the Anchorman meme. Like, he just uses the same talking points in all of his videos. Like, he talks about the message.
The message?
Her being a girl boss.
Girl bossing.
Modern audiences.
Modern audiences.
Using the same clips from interviews over and over and over again. Like, I don't know how. I mean, it's just not. It's not just Critical Drinker either, but so many right-wing YouTubers like Critical Drinker that get really mad at kids' movies. They do this. They just talk about the same subjects over and over again. And quite frankly, I don't know how. And I don't know how their audiences eat up them talking about the same things over and over and over again. Like, it's crazy. Like, even in this video, he talks about the same stuff that he's already talked about in his previous videos.
See, yeah, she's definitely creating the impression of a spoiled, entitled, narcissistic actor who liked about modern Hollywood's a spoiled, entitled, and not particularly talented manufactured celebrity with the brash, outspoken, abrasively overconfident version we saw just a few months earlier.
And I also wanted to particularly look at his review of the Snow White movie, and that's why I started off this video giving my own review of the Snow White movie, because in his review it just shows how poor Critical Drinker is as a reviewer. Like, he doesn't know how to review things or look at things critically, despite his name having critical in it, which you think he would be good at because he is a writer technically, so you think he would understand something about writing. But he also deliberately lies to his audience and leaves out important information about the movie because he assumes his audience isn't going to watch the movie, so they're not going to fact check them. So in his Snow White review, it says things like how Snow White is a girl boss and forces the dwarves to clean up their own house.
So after crashing at their house for a while, eating their food and helping herself to all of their resources, Snow White helpfully forces them to clean up their own home while she prances around like she's on some mad acid trip.
Which is something he criticized before the movie came out as well. But in like the context of the movie, you will understand that scene a little bit more. See, Snow White, unlike the original, doesn't clean up the dwarves' house, but she asks the dwarves to clean up their house because in the context of the movie, the dwarves are constantly bickering and arguing each other back and forth. So she gets them to clean their house so they can learn to work together, and that leads to the Whistle While You Work song.
Is this normal or just something you do among friends?
We're not friends.
Well, it seems to me that everyone here could do a much better job at listening to one another.
Because in the context of the movie, they are constantly reiterating the line, fearless, fair, brave, and true. So this movie is about Snow White becoming the actual leader of her kingdom because the evil queen she's not the rightful ruler of the kingdom because Snow White's parents are gone. So this is one of those scenes where she's showing her leadership by getting the dwarves to work together, which Critical Drinker does not mention at all in his video. He also goes over to talk about the prince, who's not really the prince, sorry I forget his name, but how she just runs into him.
And for some reason she gets it into her head that her dad must still be alive, and the only way to find him is to seek out the bandits that lurk in the forests.
Right.
So naturally, she runs into Jonathan about 5 minutes after leaving the house so that the rest of the plot can happen.
And that's one thing this movie I think does do well, is that it has them interact a lot more. It actually shows them kind of falling in love. And she runs into him because she meets him pretty early on in the movie because she's trying to steal from the castle because they need food, and he constantly says that he believes in the true king, and because of that, Snow White thinks they're an ally because she wants to look for her father and thinks he might potentially be still alive, so she searches for the bandits to try to see if they know anything. That's why she runs into them.
Are you one of the bandits that gather in the forest stealing in the name of the king?
No, Your Majesty, not one of the bandits. I'm the boss, loyal to the one true king.
Find his...
Which Critical Drinker doesn't mention. He also mentions later on that the prince, not really the prince, gets kidnapped and conveniently breaks out so the plot can continue happening.
Jonathan decides to lure the Queen's soldiers away to give Snow White time to escape, and then immediately gets captured because he's a bumbling idiot. But that's okay because Jonathan escapes prison so that the rest of the plot can happen, and gives her the world's least passionate kiss, which brings her back to life so that she can begin her cunning plan to overthrow the Queen and take back her kingdom.
But fails to mention that the huntsman who was earlier arrested in the movie for helping out Snow White was also captive, and that's how he escapes, because the huntsman helps the prince escapes.
I'll check for guards. You go. Good luck.
But he doesn't mention that in his video because, again, he assumes his audience is not going to watch the movie. He also doesn't understand the ending of the movie because he says Snow White saves the day just because she remembers the guards' names.
And then convinces the soldiers to turn against the evil queen because she can remember their names.
Really?
I'm not kidding, that's her plan.
And yeah, that is kind of what happens, but what actually happens in the scene is that, again, the point of this movie is that Snow White is the rightful ruler of this kingdom, and she not only cares for this kingdom, but she cares for the people in the kingdom. She loves and respects all of them. Even when the huntsman is going to kill her, she gives him an apple. And she gives him an apple before that, which makes her very sympathetic towards him. And he already doesn't want to kill her because she's a child, but that leads him to not killing her altogether. And the one thing is, this movie is just, she's not the most beautiful of them all, but she's the most fairest of them all, and that's why the evil queen wants her dead. And we are shown that how her people really care about her. We're shown that in the beginning of the movie where she's kind to everyone in her kingdom. And we see that at the end of the movie where she not only remembers all the guards' names, she remembers their families' names and what they used to do before they became guardsmen. And she remembers everything about her people because she cares about her people.
Paul, you were a farmer. You have a wife. Eleanor. Matthew. You were a baker. Just like your father. Arthur.
Enough.
William. I remember you.
Like, it's a very corny ending, I'm not gonna lie. It's a very, the power of friendship, like, and love, like, animate towards the ending. But you kind of have to remember this is also a Disney movie, so obviously it's gonna have a corny ending. It's for kids, so it's very funny that a grown man like Critical Drinker is yelling at this kid's movie. But yeah, like, his Snow White review, I think, is very poor, and he just apes a lot of the things that he said in every single one of his videos prior to making this video. And his crash and burn video for Rachel Zegler, I think, is also very interesting because he constantly pokes fun of her being a young actress and how she is not very grateful of her situation, and she hasn't earned her spot to be as what he calls arrogant because of the way she talks in interviews.
She came across as arrogant, entitled and self-absorbed, casually insulting and dismissing the original Snow White and banging on about the new film being made for modern audiences.
Fuck.
Which I find very funny because these people like Critical Drinker have said the same thing about people like Pedro Pascal, like they haven't earned their spots or they're not worthy to be constantly casted in things in Hollywood. Throughout this video, he talks about the flops that Rachel Zegler has been in, like West Side Story and this movie as well, and Shazam. And I find those all very interesting because he only points out Rachel Zegler is the way he talks. He makes it seem like Rachel Zegler is the reason that these movies flop. Which, I mean, if you're gonna talk about West Side Story, why not also talk about Steven Spielberg? He's the one that directed the movie. Why not putting that blame on him? Also, if she's not very talented, why did Steven Spielberg hire her? You'd think Steven Spielberg, of all people, would know what talent looks like. And not only has she been acting since she was a kid, she's also been singing since she was a kid, and she's gotten hired because of that. She's an amazing singer. So I think she's earned her spot. I think she has earned her roles, which, I mean, that's pretty much why she's got casted for most of her roles. It was because of her singing, because she's very talented. You know, West Side Story, Hunger Games, Snow White, she's in an animated movie. Like, she's earned these roles because she is talented. It really just seems like a lot of people hate her because she's young, and that's the fun thing to do, even though most actors and actresses start off really young. And they don't like what she said, how she talks in interviews. Even though, again, she's young, so of course she's gonna say stupid stuff in interviews sometimes. And a critical drinker also says Shazam was a flop. Kinda, and the way he says it again, he makes it sound like it's specifically because of Rachel Zegler.
Anyway, the film would go on to flop at the box office, making 2 flops in a row for Rachel. But that's okay though, because she had her eyes on an even bigger prize by this point.
Not because, I don't know, no one cared about Shazam 2. I tried watching that movie twice, and I turned it off, and I fell asleep the first time, and I turned it off the second time because I just could not care about that movie. Most people did not care about Shazam 2 because that was the end of the DCEU, and people were just losing interest. Also, people who didn't really care about the main actor of the movie, Zachary Levi. And especially, I mean, considering that Rachel Zegler wasn't even the main villain of that movie, she was like a supporting character in that movie, I wouldn't say that she was to blame of that movie either. It was only her second movie. And he also likes to point out a clip where she makes a joke about needing a job.
But rather the kind of easy, undemanding job that actors take for a quick payday. The thing is though, you're not supposed to say that part out loud, but that's exactly what she did during the film's press tour.
What made you want to step into this world of DC heroes? I needed a job. I'm being so serious.
It was like she had no filter, no idea of what's appropriate to say, no understanding that she was basically shitting on the film before it was even released.
Keep in mind this was like during the strikes and also COVID, so it was just a playful joke. And if you play the full clip of that interview, she is grateful to be in that movie, just like she is grateful to be in Snow White.
No, I mean, the reality was we were in the middle of a pandemic and I was not working and I couldn't get a job for the life of me because West Side Story hadn't come out yet, and it was really hard to book work for me. So I was really excited when this came in my inbox. I loved the first movie, and the fact that they even wanted me to come in for a callback and then a chem read and then everything in between. I'm so lucky that I got this job. I made some of my best friends on this job, and I just absolutely adore this movie too, so I'm excited.
Now, funny enough, there is some things in this video that I do agree with Critical Drinker, because every once in a while he does have some good points. And at one point he talks about the Actors on Actor variety video that Rachel Zegler did with Haley Bailey.
To die down, and even putting Zegler on a humiliating, carefully stage-managed apology tour in the hopes of softening her public image.
I mean, he also talks about this interview in multiple videos. He brings it up a lot. But I also think this video is very manufactured and fake. But the thing is, I think a lot of the actor-on-actor videos are very fake, if I'm being perfectly honest. These videos where 2 actors are interviewing each other always feel kind of fake. Unless it's 2 actors that have like really good chemistry with one another, these, I don't know, these always feel kind of weird and fake. But again, I find it very funny that he mostly attacks Rachel Zegler in this video and not like Haley Bailey, who's another someone they also kind of went after. I just find it funny how much Rachel Zegler has become this punching bag for the right now. Like, it doesn't matter what she does. Like, she's not even doing a movie right now. She's going back to doing theater, which I know these guys did not watch her theater performance, but they still feel the need to bring up her name, which is just so annoying, I find out. It's the same thing with Daisy Ridley or Brie Larson. It doesn't matter what these guys do. Like, Daisy hasn't even been in a blockbuster movie since Star Wars. She's mostly doing indie stuff, and they still have to bring up her name. Like, even during Critical Drinker's review of The Working Man, a movie that has nothing to do with Snow White or Rachel Zegler, he still has to bring up her name in his video.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
So, like, it has nothing to do with Rachel Zegler, but he still has to bring up her name because they can't help themselves. They have to just keep reiterating the same talking points in their videos because their audience just eats it up, and it's very annoying. And I really feel bad for Rachel Zegler, honestly, at this point, because I feel like this woman is going to be like in her 40s and they're still going to be talking about Snow White. Like, I almost feel like this is going to be like Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart, where people still bring up fucking Twilight even though they have done so many movies since then. And I feel like it's going to be the same thing with Rachel Zegler, where people are going to still be bringing up the Snow White movie 40 years from now, even though she's done a bunch of other stuff. And she's doing another movie next year, so clearly she's still going strong. Like, she's, even if she has seen the backlash, she doesn't seem like it's letting it get to her, because she's doing what she loves, which is theater, which is where she started in. Another YouTuber I really like is the Birdman. He also made a video. He has made multiple videos, not only talking about right-wing grifters like Critical Drinker, but he's made multiple videos on Critical Drinker himself. And I highly suggest you check out his videos. He has gone over this video as well, and kind of has inspired me to make this video. I just find it so funny that the Critical Drinker has decided to take his time out to once again talk about Rachel Zegler, but he couldn't take the time out to give a proper review of the movie Sinners on his main channel. Instead, he just shoved that onto his second channel. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this subject. I think this forced hate on Rachel Zegler, who, like, there are so many shitty actors in Hollywood and shitty celebrities, but the constant barrage on an actress who said like one thing in an interview that was cringy, I think is just really ridiculous at this point. And like, Critical Drinker, you're a 40-year-old man and you're talking shit about a 20-year-old actress. I think that's very cringy of you, and I think you need to get off your high horse, if anything. Like, she's not even like a nepo baby. Like, she did the work. She went to acting school. She did theater. She's a great singer. Like, she has earned her spot. Like, what else do you guys need her to do? Like, get offline, please. Stop watching. If you don't like her, stop watching her interviews and stop talking about her. But you're not, because it gives you really easy views. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I guess, I don't know what I'm going to title this video, like the defense of Rachel Zegler or whatever I titled it. I don't know. I almost forgot to mention, if you like these videos, be sure to check out my other ones that I've done on this channel. Also check out my main channel, Infinite Repeats. I'll put a link in the description below. Once again, like and subscribe, do all the things the algorithm likes. This is Nate Infinite. I'm your host Nate. Stay up.